Well, Kenny, here we are again.
Again.
Well, you know what? That conversation we just had with Shakur,
Yes.
that was very enlightening.
It was very enlightening, and it was the enlightenment of it was the fact that we got an opportunity to see the other side of Shakur.
Yeah. You see a side that most people don't see.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very nice young man,
Yes,
and very intelligent in terms of talking about this game that he's involved in.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I was very much impressed chatting with him.
Yeah. And he brought out a couple of things that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Especially about the fight that just occurred over the weekend with a Tevin Farmer, I think it was Tevin Farmer and
Floyd
and Schofield.
Yeah.
He said that he shared with us that something that I didn't know, that Farmer had Tourette's, and that might have had some impact in the fight. Yeah, which didn't last very long.
Which did not last long, and the possibilities of Shakur fighting Schofield. That was a possibility up until some things happened, and the fight got called off. And
well, now what Shakur, the sense I got was that Schofield was saying it, but he wasn't really meaning it, because what he said is that he offered Schofield to fight.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, Schofield, before the fight could take place, Schofield backed out. Backed out of the fight, and so the fight never happened.
Right.
But now he's yelling and screaming that he wants to fight. He said, "Well, I've already given him a shot.
Right.
I gave him an opportunity to fight me, and he didn't want to fight me. So he's just making noise." Basically what he's saying.
Yes, exactly. When the opportunity is there, sometimes you got to
grab that ring.
It. Yeah.
Grab that ring. Yeah. Well, but Farmer, I've seen Farmer in some of his other fights, and he's a rugged, very competitive guy, but for whatever reason, he just didn't have it this fight right from the beginning,
Yeah. Right from the beginning, he gets dropped. And, for us referees, when a fighter goes down, positioning is good for us because we want to keep our eye on him.
Yeah.
Then he goes down again.
Yeah.
And now that don't look good.
Yeah.
Not 2 times. And now when he gets up, initially we're going to see what he does in protecting himself, either moving or making it difficult so that his opponent, Schofield, don't hit him.
Yeah. There was some conversation about, it was an early stoppage, and I looked at that fight, and what I saw was the referee was very poised in evaluating Farmer after each knockout, and the fact of the matter that he looked at him and he determined that to take more damage was going to be completely unnecessary, and that's what we do. We keep him from taking unnecessary damage, and it wasn't going to get any better. So he stopped it.
And you're right, Byrd. It wasn't going to get any better. And for Gerard White, the referee, he couldn't have done it no smoother than the way he did it, because you could see that Gerard was very composed.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't frantic or anything. He went through the proper steps as far as what he needed to do. And in my opinion, it was a perfect stoppage.
Yeah, he and like I said, a lot of times people they want to go back to Gotti Ward, but there was only one Gotti Ward.
Exactly.
And that was a long time ago. It was a lot different today. Even the way we referee today is different than it was back then.
Very good point.
We've come so far.
Yes.
And I think it was back in the day we were doing 15 rounds.
Yes.
And now we're doing 12 rounds.
Yes.
And all of that is basically for the safety of the fighters.
Yes.
And like I said, what most people, they get it mixed up. Boxing is a damaged sport, but our job as referees is to make certain that they don't take unnecessary damage.
Exactly.
So that these guys, they got a life after boxing.
Yes.
They want to go home to their families at night. And so one huge responsibility for us is to ensure that they do that.
They do that, and the term that we often use is that we can let them swim out to deep waters, but we can't let that fighter drown out in those deep waters.
Yeah.
And Farmer was in deep waters early in the fight.
Yeah, well,
too early in the fight.
I don't think he went out to deep water. I think he went out when he jumped in the pool. When he jumped in the pool, it was
deep water.
It was deep water.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'd be that way.
And sometimes it be that way. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now, there was a number of fights this week on that card. And it was a pretty good card, actually.
Yes, it was a good
the
card.
Fights were pretty competitive. This guy, Griffin, this was a really, really competitive fight with a lot. There was a lot of back and forth in this fight.
Yes.
There was a lot of give and take.
Yes, it was.
One would crack and he'd get hurt, and the other one crack and he'd get hurt.
Yes.
And one would go down and the other would go down, But what it says is that, in any fight, it ain't over till it's over.
Until it's over. And you can easily see that the matchup couldn't have been any better.
Yeah.
Their skill levels mirrored each other.
Yeah.
And like you said, there was highs and lows in it. One guy get hurt, the other guy get hurt. Yeah. Movement was clear in what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't have gotten better.
And something that another thing that this fight showed me, and should be showing to fans out there, is that there are different kinds of knockdowns. Because I think it was Griffin, he got hit, dropped, went down, and he got up and he was okay.
Yeah.
But when Rodriguez went down, it was a whole different way that he went down. And so all knockdowns are not the same.
Right.
And one of the things that as referees we take into consideration is, that particular point.
And not only that, a fighter getting knocked down is one thing, but we have to watch and observe how he gets up and what he does in the next maybe 10 to 20 seconds, as far as if his head is clear, if he can continue at the same rate that he was at before he got knocked down. There's a lot of things that we got to observe.
Yeah.
And like you said, you could clearly see that he just wasn't the same.
And another thing we always talk about in the construct of the ring, we always want that bottom rope to be loose.
Yes.
And you could see why in this fight, because when, I think it was Rodriguez, when he went down, he hit that bottom rope, thank God it was loose.
Yes.
Because if it's not loose, it can cause a lot of damage.
Yes,
you
it
know?
can.
And
Yes,
so,
it can.
this fight gave us a little bit of everything.
Yes, it did.
You know,
Yes, it did.
We know that all knockdowns are not the same. We
Yeah.
know why that we always leave that last rope on the ring loose, so that the fighter goes. So it was a lot that this fight offered to us. You know,
Yes.
good. It was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
Yeah. Now the other Rodriguez, who fought Curiel, I believe his name was. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, hey, another competitive fight, which is what people want to see.
What people want to see.
A lot of give and take in this fight.
A lot of give and take.
Great combination punches.
Yep.
With a lot of power.
Now, I believe there might have been a possible broken nose in this fight. I could be wrong. That's what I have on my notes. But it started out fast, and it stayed that way until the knockdown.
Yeah.
Or the stoppage itself.
Yeah. And one of the things that this also showed was one of the things that, as a boxing judge, you look for. One fighter was aggressive. Okay, he was throwing some punches. The other fighter was aggressive too, but the difference was one fighter's punches were landing clean, hard.
Yes.
So his effectiveness, his aggression was effective, while the other guy was was aggressive, but it wasn't effective.
Right.
And there's a big difference in boxing. What you're really looking for is effective aggression. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Very competitive, highly competitive. Again, like we said, the fight card was very well matched between opponents, and fans could walk away and not complain about not getting a good show, because they got a good show.
They did. They did.
Not this fight, but the whole night. It was a good night.
Yeah.
One could say for boxing.
Yeah. And the other thing about this fight, and again, people, maybe that might have been a little soon, but you know what? What the referee saw was when he went down, it was from a liver punch. And when he got up, he was taking a few other punches, but in that second volley, he got hit with another liver shot, and then 2 or 3 more shots. But the shot that caused the damage was another liver shot.
It was a liver shot.
It was a body shot. So, you know, it's not always that flashy one that you see upside his head that does the damage.
Yes.
That body shot.
Yes.
Let me tell you, you know.
And fans often, the excitement is the shot to the head.
Yeah.
That's the excitement.
Yeah.
The body shots are not as exciting to fans. The knowledgeable fans are excited about it, because then they know just what the intent of the offensive fighter, what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
And the body is just as open as the head. Matter of fact, the body is more open than the head, because at least you can put your guards up to protect your head. That body is there for taking.
Well, that's what they say. Kill the body, the head will fall.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, the fight that a lot of people paid a lot of money to see. And why? They paid it. Well, I know why they paid it. They paid it because they had the son of a legend.
Yes.
In here fighting a guy that is, he's popularized, the sport. But, and matter of fact, I was reading in the paper today, the WBA has now ranked Jake Paul number 14 in their rankings based upon his fight against Chavez. It's not computing with me.
Yeah.
Chavez was Chavez. It was the Chavez that I've seen so many times.
Yes.
He was, You know, he was basically surviving, came alive in the last couple of rounds, which he's done in a number of fights.
Yes.
Okay. And you kind of wonder, why weren't you fighting like that earlier in the fight?
Yes.
You know, but I'm not convinced that Jake Paul is someone to be seriously considered as a title contender.
Right.
Now, I'll grant you, he's gotten better,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but the question is, has he gotten better against credible contenders, or has he gotten better just due to the process? You know, training better, learning how to box a little bit better. So I think the process, he's gotten better.
Yeah.
Okay, he definitely he's improved. But against whom is where I'm having the issue.
Well, a couple of key points, and you've said it. I don't care who you are. If you're an athlete, the more times you get in there, the better you're going to improve. Mm-hmm. Now, how much between the first fight to the 7th fight or the 9th fight, you're going to improve. Plus, you know, you got your trainers that are going to take you in the gym and teach you what they know. Mm-hmm. But earlier you said about Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. See, the marketing of having a name like Julio Cesar Chavez is could make one raise his head up and say, Chavez? Because we knew what the daddy did. The daddy was a warrior.
Yes, he was.
I used to marvel at him back in the day when he was fighting. And he was the guy that I always mentioned that you go down a dark alley with because he was a warrior.
Yeah.
And I've refereed Chavez Jr. On more than one occasion.
As I.
And you know, did I know what his limitations were? Yes. Mm-hmm. Did I expect more out of him that night? Yes. Mm-hmm. But for the first 6 rounds, I mean, I got a list of the stats. And the first 3 rounds, I don't think he threw 15 punches. In the first 3 rounds, I don't think he threw 15 punches. Mm-hmm. And if he threw them, he didn't land anything. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the numbers picked up as far as his punch output. But like you said, it wasn't until the 7th round that he really showed himself, which would make one say, why didn't he start that in the first round or the 2nd round after filling him out in the first round? And you didn't. Yeah. So for 6 rounds, I'm sitting there watching the tube and saying to myself, I know it's upsetting Daddy because they showed Daddy a few times and you could see that kind of disgust look on his face. Yeah. And it just...
Well, you can have talent, but you have to show it.
Yes.
Okay. And like I've said about Chavez Jr., he's surrounded with people who have all the talent in the world.
Yes.
And they have all of the heart and the courage in the world.
Yes.
That second part is where I think Chavez Jr., that's what he's missing. Yeah. Okay. He showed a little bit of it. In the last couple of rounds, he came on strong. And I've seen him do that in a number of fights. Yeah. Okay. Did you learn anything from these fights over here to carry over into this fight?
Right.
Evidently not, because he's doing it the same way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And because of that, I have to look at Jake Paul pretty much the same way I've always looked at him.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good athlete.
Yeah.
And he's improved in the process of learning how to box.
Yeah.
Okay. But until he has fought a top 5 contender or someone with a minor title, the jury is still out.
The jury is still out, and what is the WBA that has ranked him 14th? What are they going to do? If he says he's ready to fight for the title, what is the WBA going to do? What are they going to do?
It's a good question.
Because he's got the following. We know that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the numbers were as far as viewers. I know when he fought Mike Tyson at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, they said they've never had that kind of an attendance at a boxing match at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Right.
So we know he brings the numbers. So the question again still remains is, what is the WBA going to do? Are they going to say, okay, the number 2 contender can fight the number 11 contender, or however way they structure the matchups?
Yeah.
It's the WBA.
Well, what about a guy that's been sitting at 5 or 6? Okay. Or what about a guy that's even in the top 20? Okay. Right. And been fighting and doing the things that they need to do to keep rising in the ranks.
Yes.
How are they going to feel when you just drop this guy in?
Yes.
In the top 15.
Yes.
They ranked him number 4.
Yes.
14.
Yes.
So the jury's still out for me.
The jury's still out for me too.
Yeah.
Still out. Yeah.
Well, Kenny, I had a conversation with Shane Mosley, and he was saying that one of the major problems with the game today is that these fighters are fighting for money. And they're not fighting to fight the best. They're not fighting to entertain. They're fighting for the money. And it shows in the preparation for their fights. It shows in the fights that they fight. They're just fighting for the money. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, money is important.
Yes.
And if you're getting in there and taking the risk, you should be compensated.
Yes.
But it's a fight.
Yes.
Yes. And that's what people want to see. They want to see a fight. They want to see people who are competing hard against each other. They want to see a Hagler Hearn. They want to see Ali Frazier. They want to see a Hopkins De La Hoya. They want to see competitive fight. They want to see people who want to fight each other.
Yeah.
And give those people who are paying those dollars, give them their money's worth.
Yeah.
And that's things like that's not happening.
No, and fans have to understand that you're not going to get that Hagler Hearns on every fight. It's just not going to happen. I know that if you could get it 90% of the time, you're going to have some happy campers out there.
There you go.
If you get it less than 50% of the time, you're going to have some unhappy campers. Because fans want to see, like you said, a knock-down, drag-out, hard-fisted fight from every fight card. I mean, look at it. You get a fight card that may have 8, maybe 9 fights on it. How many of those 8 or 9 fights are going to be a Hagler Hearns?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at it that way. And I used to say the fans back in the day when Mike Tyson was fighting, Mike Tyson knocked the guy out in the first round, and no sooner than I got there, the fight is over. I says, well, if you went to a football game Would you go to the football game in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left in the game?
Yeah.
No, you want to be there for kickoff.
Right.
Well, when you go to a boxing match, get there for the first fight, because the first fight or the third fight or the fifth fight might be the best fight of the night.
Yeah.
That might be a Hagler-Hearns fight.
Yeah.
But you miss it because you was waiting for the main event.
Yeah.
That's boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully, I don't know. This alliance between Dana White and the Sheikh, who have said that their stated goal is to make fights in which the best are fighting the best.
Yeah.
And, by the way, we're going to also compensate them, for doing that.
Yes.
If that occurs, then the game is going to be a lot healthier and the fighters are going to be much more appreciated. But they've got to do their job. The fighters have got to do their job.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now,
exactly.
Deontay Wilder, Herndon. Why are you laughing?
Because, first of all, Byrd, I watched the fight, and as much as I respect anybody that gets in that ring, sometimes I'm speaking from a referee's position now, not as a fan. And safety is always our first interest when a fighter gets in that ring.
Right.
And Deontay Wilder making his comeback is no surprise to me. When Sugar Ray Leonard retired back during the day, I on the inside of me knew he was coming back. He has too much talent and skills not to come back. Fighters will make a comeback, and I don't knock Deontay Wilder for making his comeback, but for me, if in making your comeback, you got something to add to what you had to make your comeback hopefully better than the last time. I mean, he was a world champion at one time.
Yeah. And
he lost his title in a fight against Tyson Fury that I refereed.
Right.
He got the trilogy fight, and he lost again. And since then, he hasn't been doing that well. He hasn't.
Right.
So if you're bringing something to show what you got as opposed to what the past was like, I haven't seen it. Well, and I definitely didn't see it in his last fight.
And that would be my observation too. For me, Deontay, when he was even on top, was a guy that depended largely on power.
Yes.
And that wasn't a bad thing in that he was very successful with that. But when they made the effort to say you need to be more than a one-punch guy and learn how to utilize all of the punches and skills and footwork and stuff that you need, it didn't set well with him.
Right.
And he didn't do it.
Right.
And he suffered for that.
Yes.
Okay. And what I saw in this fight was someone who it's just not there anymore. At some point in time, you got to realize it's just not there. Or you've got to realize I can't do it like I used to.
Yeah.
and I've got to make a significant adjustment. But what's more important, that adjustment has got to make you better able to compete. And that wasn't the case in this fight.
Yeah.
He was a shell of himself.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah.
And the guy that he fought didn't help because he was a defensive guy, basically fighting to survive, you know. And eventually, he caught up with him and he tagged him. Right. And by his own admission, Wilder said, I'm trying to kind of get myself back together and engage and see where I'm at, coming back. And then there's this talk about, well, maybe he could fight Joshua. And I'm going, who in their right mind would want to make that fight?
Yeah.
It certainly economically wouldn't be worth Joshua's while to fight him.
Right.
Nor would it be worthwhile to any of the top heavyweights, Usyk or Dubois or Joshua or Fury again.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be in their best interest to fight him economically.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you got to know when to say when.
Yeah.
And for me, just based upon that performance, it's time to say when.
Yeah. Yeah, and you made a good point. The thing for me in watching the fight was I saw him use his jab more, but which I've always been a favorite of the jab with his height, how effective it could be for him, but he was able to use that jab like he did based on the opponent that he had.
Thank you.
If you get a little tougher opponent, will he use that jab the same way, or will he not? That's the big question. So yeah. Again, for Deontay, safety is always our main goal, and if you choose to continue on, our prayers will definitely go out to you for your safety, and that's the key thing.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
Well, the one fight that I can tell you is not going to be lacking in firepower from either fighter. And that's the potential fight, September.
Yeah.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Canelo?
Yes, sir.
And, they had the press conference and, you had the back and forth and the forth and back. And they said, really promote the fight. I said, what are people talking about? This is a fight that don't need to be promoted.
Right. Yeah.
The fight promotes itself. Because these are two fighters that are not going to disappoint. They're going to fight.
They're going to fight.
They come to fight.
They come to fight.
They want to fight the best. And that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what this game needs.
Yeah.
These fights are what the game needs. And I understand, the press conference and the build up and all of that. But let's be serious.
Yeah.
This is a fight, don't need no promotion. The fighters have promoted this fight simply from the very time that they said we're gonna fight each other, the fight was promoted.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, the press conference, it is what it is because the excitement brings excitement.
Okay.
And if we still got a little ways before the fight take place because the fight's in September.
September, yeah.
So for me, you know, they tour different locations. I don't know if they'll go outside of the United States to promote. I don't know. But as long as they're within the United States, the gravity of the face-off is going to get more and more intense.
Yeah.
You know, we see a little shoving this time, there'll be a little more shoving the next time.
Yeah.
The verbiage between each fighter saying what they gonna do, what they expected, and all the predictions is just gonna just keep taking it to this crescendo that is going to make it what it is.
Yeah.
And like you said, once they signed for boxing people, you know this is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
These are the ones that you wait for.
You know, and the other thing that we can look at all of this, but you know what? You and I know. There's a tremendous amount of respect each one of them has for the other.
That's right.
Now, they're going to do, you know, their thing.
Yes.
But if you look real close, you watch real close, you can see there's a tremendous amount of respect.
Yes.
One for the other.
Yes.
And that's not going to be harmful at all when the fight comes.
Yes.
Because each one respects the other and they respect their talent and they're going to try to do everything they can.
Right.
To match the other person.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what really this sport again needs.
Yeah. And during the press conference, when the little shoving thing happened, you could see Terrence kind of grinning.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You know, it wasn't like when Oscar De La Hoya fought Fernando Vargas, they had to put a big piece of plexiglass between the both of them. So they just literally didn't like each other.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And I don't see that with Crawford and Canelo.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a genuine belief in each one of them that they can beat the other.
Yeah.
But there's a mutual respect
Yes.
between them that's only going to, for me, is only going to make this fight even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, and I'll ask you, Byrd, Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. What do you think?
There's a number of young guns that are coming out of the corral. And Brian Norman Jr.
is coming out of the corral.
One of them young guns that's coming out of that corral. And I can say this. I believe that if his opponent on that night isn't on his A game, it could be a very long night for him.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very competitive fight.
Yes.
And, you know, I will never make a prediction. I won't do that.
Yeah.
But I can predict that it's going to be a competitive fight because this kid, from just what I've seen, has a mentality to seek and destroy.
Yes.
He wants to hurt the other guy.
Yes.
And so far, he's been doing a real good job of that. Okay? And Mr. Haney, you certainly can't take anything away from him. Skilled, has been in with much better competition. Okay? But the question is going to be, can this Norman Jr. bring out the beast in this Mr. Haney over here, or will the beast be slain?
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Well, I hear you, and I'll tell you this: when you look at the two warriors, because this is going to be one of those throwback movie. Where one guy's got a ball and chain on, he's swinging around. The other guy's got a shield and a sword, and they coming straight in. You ain't got to find nobody.
Yeah.
You got to give it up. And like you said, this Brian Norman, this guy, just in the short clips that I've seen of him, he comes with an attitude that this is the way it's going to be, his way.
Yep.
And we know what Haney has to offer. I think back when Haney fought what's the kid's name?
Cambosa, Garcia.
The one, Garcia.
Yeah.
And there was a little controversy with Garcia, and was he on something and this and that, but that's the only downfall of a fight that I've seen Haney in. Other than that, he's had control of the fight with his ability to do what he does best and move and shake and so on. So this. I see this fight being just as good as Crawford and Canelo.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be that good, but it's going to be good. It's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be a good fight.
And
that's what people want to see.
And that's what
I want to see.
Yes.
Yes. Now, old guard, new guy. How much is left in the tank? How much is left in the tank? That's the question that I think you have to ask when you talk about Manny Pacquiao.
Yes.
Fighting Barrios.
Barrios, yeah.
Young gun, against the old talented guy.
Yeah.
And so for me, will talent will out over young aggression? I don't know. I certainly wouldn't say that I would be terribly surprised if Manny could come out victorious in this, because he's always been talented, but in an unorthodox way. And those two things can make it difficult for someone who fights more, I think, conventionally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're going to see in this matchup.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's going to be any letdown in terms of attitude on both on either fighter. The young fighter, this is a great opportunity for him.
Yeah.
For Manny, this is a great opportunity for him to say, I still can.
Yeah.
So it'll be a test of wills. And the question is, who will emerge?
Yes. And I saw a press conference shot of both Barrios and Manny standing face to face. And Barrios obviously has a height advantage, which means that he's going to have a reach advantage. And for me, As far as Pacquiao, if when fighters are in the gym, especially fighters that have passed their prime, that think that they still got it, still have it. What can he bring to the fight that he used to have, and how much of it can he bring? The thing that I admired about Manny back in the day was you don't have to find him. When he's in an offensive set, he throws multiple combinations. The traditional jab, right hand, 3-punch combination, he throws 4 and 5-punch combinations, which I've seen him knock down many of fighters because they're flipping that double jab right hook, but they didn't know that a 4th punch and a 5th punch and maybe even a 6th punch was coming. So I think that we'll be able to see early in the fight what he's bringing. And I don't think it's necessary that he has to bring a knockout to the fight, but have and be in the shape that can carry him the distance if necessary.
And the thing that I've always leaned toward when dealing with Pacquiao is that he's so unorthodox. And it's very difficult to plan for someone who is unorthodox. And you've got to be tremendously skilled to overcome that. And the question will be, can he do that?
Can he do
it? Now, there's another rematch, not a rematch, because Barrios and Pacquiao is not a rematch, but there is a rematch out there that folks are going to be salivating about. Especially in the UK. And that's the rematch between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. The first fight was a classic. It was everything that you wanted a fight to be. And everything you want out of each fighter, it was there. And I think that you're going to see a lot of the same. One of the things that they talked about it, I believe, in the first fight was that, I forget which one it was, but that they actually were coming up in weight, or they weren't really comfortable at that weight. And that was a difference in the fight. This is a rematch, and so all the stuff that went on in that first fight, and all of the well, I'm not quite at that weight, we're not quite big enough, all of those things I think are going out of the window, because you've had an opportunity now to change them, to make the adjustments. And so the question is going to be in this fight, who has made the proper adjustments, and will those adjustments be enough?
And if Conor Benn can pull it off, everybody is going to be clamoring
for a trilogy.
For a trilogy. So will fans be in there rooting for Benn just for that reason? And it would be a good reason, because when we look at the trilogies in the past, Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield and
Gotti Ward,
and Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera, and Ali's trilogy with Frazier. Matter of fact, Ali had 2 trilogies: a trilogy with Kenny Norton and a trilogy with Frazier, with Joe Frazier. So you could see that people would somewhat thirst after that, knowing how good and competitive and entertaining the first fight was. And this one will be. Because they're not attitudinally,
they're coming with the same
Yes.
attitude.
Yes.
I'm gonna beat you.
Yes.
And that's the mentality you want to see.
Yeah.
On both of those guys when they come into that ring.
Yes.
And it's great. There's a lot going on over there in Europe.
Yeah.
And, I wish a lot of it was coming over here, but
Exactly.
they're putting together a lot of great fights over in Europe, especially in the heavyweight division. But this fight has all of the makings of being a classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the second fight is going to be just as good as the first fight.
Yeah.
Not unless a knockout out of nowhere happens to appear or a TKO, but I see it being highly competitive. It will be promoted, but the fight promotes itself.
That's it.
Because of the first fight.
Yeah.
And it'll just come down to now who wants it the most.
That's it.
Who wants it the most?
On that night.
On that night. Exactly.
On that night. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, as always, it's so wonderful just hanging out with you, chopping it up.
Yes, sir.
And it was great talking to Shakur earlier today.
It was wonderful.
Man, as the Staples Singers would say, would say, hey, let's do it again.
Exactly. And thank you for tuning in to the official call.
And to join our official squad, please subscribe below.